dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Welcome one and all to Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio American Network from our flagship station, the nation's capital, WWRC in Washington, D.C. Liberty Nation Radio is sponsored by LibertyNation.com, where you can access podcasts, breaking news, analysis, and a range of biting and brilliant shows to whet your appetite for freedom and your fondness for the great American Constitution. Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation Radio, heard coast to coast on the Radio American Network. I'm your host, Mark Angelides, and we're joined today by Liberty Nation's editor-at-large, Mr. James Fite. Thanks for being here, Jim.
Howdy, Mark.
So I had to pull you in because we are now a couple of weeks in from from what some might say it's the greatest movie ever. It's the best movie that's ever been made. I wonder who might, of course, referring to one particular person who would say that. But we're a couple of weeks in from the launch of Melania, I guess it's a live watch as you go documentary about the run-up to Melania Trump re-entering the White House with her husband, President Donald Trump, for his second term. And what we've seen, Jim, and I think this is a fair characterization, is we've seen just about every major media outlet slam this as a pretentious, ridiculous piece of movie making. And everybody who's actually watched it has quite enjoyed it. Is that right?
That's how it seems, and I can't recall their direct quotes, but man, some of the critical reviews are just brutal. And I think it's like a 10% score on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, the movie and TV.
The critic score is a 10%,
right? Yeah, the critic score is like 10%, but the actual viewer score is 90-something%, 99%, I think it was. So, I mean, that's a huge, and in fact, I remember when I was reading about this, like a day or two after it launched, this was the most expensive documentary ever made. But also, another record it broke was that greatest discrepancy between the critic score and the viewer score on Rotten Tomatoes. No other film in the history of Rotten Tomatoes has had such a separation there.
So there's clearly an element of politics involved in
obviously
in these scores. The system is the Rotten Tomatoes, and I like Rotten Tomatoes. I rarely watch a movie, and so when I do commit to one, I like to actually find out, am I going to watch something that's good? Of course, I watch movies like 5 years after they've been in the cinema or something.
Right.
Who can go to the cinema when you got kids? Nobody, right? I'm not going to go and watch a cartoon just because and
it's just more expensive, And,
sure.
And if you think it's expensive to do stuff with 2 kids, try 4.
Yeah, well, I'll give that a go. There you go. Borrow a couple. But so you've got this situation where, so I look at Rotten Tomatoes and I find it's quite good, but you do find the politicization. And what I think has been happening is you've had a concerted effort, both on the critic side and the audience side, to game it. So those who support President Trump are going on there and they're leaving reviews. They may not have even seen the movie. And then you've got the critics who we presume they've watched the movie. We presume. We don't know this for sure, right?
Right.
But they go into it with the idea that no matter what this is, I'm going to pan it because I don't like Donald Trump.
Right. That's certainly how it looked.
It does. So it got me thinking, well, what's the best way to actually gauge what it's like? How it's done. And I guess the answer to that is how many people actually paid money to go and see it? And you answer that question in your article on LibertyNation.com.
And actually, if we strip out the cost that Amazon paid for this,
sorry. Actually, before we go into how it did that, I do want to jump very quickly onto this. So it's the most expensive movie of its type ever made. That doesn't mean that you're getting like world-class special effects and things. Right. It's just the fees that are paid
and
for
also
the rights to this movie.
Yeah, this is not, so certainly not the most expensive movie.
Sure.
So everything we talk about as far as records and such, we're talking about specifically about documentary movies,
Yes.
which at the box office normally don't do that well. That's where you're going to get most of your documentary watching is folks on the History Channel or, streaming when they're already paying for a service. They scroll through and go, oh, that looks interesting. Actual moviegoers in the theaters, people are, you're like, when we say it does well, we're not talking like Marvel Cinematic Universe numbers here. We're talking for documentaries. And for production costs, documentaries usually don't cost that much to make because you don't have, crazy visual effects and the aliens and lasers and all,
Although if they put them in, it might be a wider audience.
Right? But yes, I mean, you don't have a lot of these expensive things in making it. But one thing I want to point out, we don't know the actual production cost of Melania. Some outlets have reported the $40 million fee that Amazon paid for the rights to distribute this, and or the $35 million they paid to advertise it, or the combined $75 million. But that's not the production cost. This was an already finished, made film, ready to roll when Amazon bought it, and dropped like $75 million on it. So it's really hard to compare. It's hard to say, oh, hey, did this bomb or did this succeed? Because it came out as it had the best release weekend of any documentary outside of like concert films, in the last 14 years. So that's certainly a success. It sold, I think it was 7 and some change million. So again, not, the big blockbusters are hitting 20, 30, 40 million on opening weekend. So this is not, this isn't, it's not huge in the movie world, generally speaking, but for a documentary, that's great work. But we can't really say, a lot of folks that are saying it bombed are saying, well, because, it costs so much more to make. And maybe not, and probably not. We don't have those numbers yet, and hopefully we will. That would be an interesting little factoid to get a hold of. But the Trumps almost certainly came out good in this, because if nothing else, they got $40 million for it.
Sure, and it didn't cost them $40 million in America, right?
Amazon might have had a bum deal. We'll find out as time goes on whether or not that pays out. But
yeah, well, I mean, Amazon will be distributing it through a range of different options, especially through its Prime thing, and it's
almost certainly,
yeah, it's a good way for them to make their money back, because they do tend to make their money back on many of these productions,
right? And now, most movies don't earn out opening weekend, so that's the thing. You've got, it might take months.
So, I wonder if it did better or will do better overall than two of my other favorite documentaries of the decade, What is a Woman and Am I Racist by Daily Wire's Matt Walsh. So I wonder if it'll do better than those in the long run. But there's something, let's just talk more about the, just very briefly,
sure.
This is getting panned by the left-leaning newspapers. Naturally, we kind of expected it because it's connected to Trump. Therefore, there's already a negative bias against it.
Absolutely, if it's positive towards Trump, it's negative in their eyes.
But I think there's something important about the movie itself. Now, that this doesn't mean I'm going to go and watch it, but we've never before had access to somebody entering the White House in documentary format. Now, this is a first lady rather than the president. And it's different because this was the second time back in the White House. But you have this situation where we've never had that before. And I wonder if what we're going to see is that we will have it again and again and again. But next time it will be, for example, it'll be Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or even Kamala Harris filming their 30 days before the White House. Because
so the election is won, the decision's already made.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now is kind of, I almost hate to use the expression how the sausage is made, because usually
that's exactly it. Right?
But it's that peek behind the curtain of, we were like, oh, the election's won, they're going to move in, boom, that's it, done. No, there's a lot of work that goes into making that happen. And on the First Lady's angle, it's some of that is just a matter of like what do I want to have in this room? What am I going to wear for this? And I mean, it's, it makes sense. These are things that have to be decided.
Yes.
We just don't, as a general public, I think, well, a lot of times we just don't think about it. We're just like, oh, well, the decision's made, it's over.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see what this heralds now. Because we
what
had
it means for a documentary, the future of documentaries.
The future of documentaries, exactly. Because for my money, the greatest campaign media is Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail by Hunter S. Thompson. It's very, very interesting. But now that money is to be made on these things, and the audience is there accordingly. I mean, 7 million opening weekend. I think that was number 6 out of the whole.
It was number 3.
Number 3. Well, that's not bad considering
it outdid a Jason Statham movie.
Let me guess. Jason Statham is either fighting a shark or he's a man with a past who has to use his special set of skills. I like the Jason Statham movies, but there's something quite formulaic about them, and that's his business, and it's good. And business is good.
Seems to do well for him.
He does. And so I think what we're going to see is more of these things. People will be making movies about their campaign trails, whether they're successful or not, because people want to watch it. I think Amazon, for whatever good or ill it does in the world, they've got their finger on the pulse of what an audience wants, which is why they're one of the most successful companies in the world. And if they're willing to pay big bucks for First Lady's return to the White House, what would they be willing to pay for a future president's ascent to the White House?
Now, my question is, when are they going to bring back when are we getting season 4 of Wheel of Time? Amazon.
You know what? That'll be, I think, when I've actually gotten around to thinking about watching seasons 1, 2, and 3. Jim, we'll be back with you after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
All right.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.